Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com. I have got 8 Sancerre 2010s in front of me. Yes, 8 of them. How do you arrange an order like that? You could do them alphabetically, you could do them with, well, they're all going to be pretty much the same alcohol level. So this one says 12.5, this one says 13. They're all going to be like 12.5%. So what I did is I said to my wife, which of these labels do you like, which of them do you don't like? So we've ranked them in preference for how much she likes the label. Is that, should that be a criterion? Well, if you've got 8 of them lined up on a shelf, which one do you pick if you don't know the producer? One way. Let's see if it works. First one I have got here, this was her least favourite, Domaine Vincent Delaporte, 2010. Sancerre, but they're all 2010 Sancerre, so I won't say that for the ones from here onwards. In fact, I probably will, but I'll shut up and taste it. Well, there's a clean, fresh, lemony smell. There's a touch of what I call pumice stone-like mineral character coming through. Doesn't feel like it's going to be too pungent. Feels like it's going to be crisp, friendly, fruity, maybe not hugely complex. Let's have a see. Nice brisk wine. Got some of that catty elderflower, nettle, citrus character coming through. Bit of green apple. Pretty decent. Not brilliant, but I would say rather textbook Sancerre, that. Rather like that as a start. Not blowing my socks off, but equally not consigning them to the smelly sock bin. Next one I've got Fénon Girard. Now this smells a bit fuller and fatter. Still got some of that pungent minerality going on in it, but yeah, it just feels like a bit of extra weight, a bit of pear, a bit of peach. But then that grassiness kicks in. Yeah, weightier style than the first one, for me, you get into a personal preference. I actually like both of them. The first one maybe a little bit too sharp for some people. Here, the purists might find it just that little bit too fleshy, but the finish is nice and crisp, and so it's not one of those sweet bimbo wines. Certainly, it's pretty decent. Okay, moving on. We are on Domaine Sauterreau. Not so much of the mineral character here, but what there is quite a bracing, almost green gauge type of fruit character. Yes, there's a bit of the citrus and a bit of that green apple, but it's yeah, this green gauge maybe just underripe plum as well. Feels like quite a full, weighty wine, that. It still says 12.5%, but feels like it's got a bit more body to it than that. And for me, if the first two were almost showing their colours here, and here I am, come and get me, this one feels like slightly coiled, and if it's still got its best still ahead of it. So we're in January now. I think that come spring, this will be what you want to reach for with yeah, with quite fleshy dishes, because it's got this core of weight, and I've got a feeling that some of the more subtle mineral characters, which are lurking in the background, will emerge with time. I like that. Yeah, favourite so far. Okay, well, next one we have Roger Neveu, Clos des Bouffons. Well, I stick my nose in here and there's a waft of that slightly sulfur dioxide that gets at the back of your throat, and not good if you're an asthmatic. Something like that will maybe aggravate a little bit of a breathing problem. But get beyond there, and there is sort of we're back to more of that like this first one, the Vincent Delaporte. Some of that pungent mineral and some of those grassy notes. Doesn't feel like it's going to be a big fleshy wine. That maybe big and fleshy was the wrong word for the previous two, but doesn't feel like it's going to be as fleshy as the previous two. But it may be that as that sulfur dioxide dissipates and blows off, and the wine gets a chance to come through, then it may get bigger in the glass. We'll see. I think they've just been a little bit too heavy-handed with that sulfur there. It's giving a toasty character to the wine. And as I say, it may be that with time it does emerge, but certainly at the moment it's a bit on the reticent side, and you're getting this toastiness, this little bit of gag at the back of your throat, sulfur dioxide. Wines like this, yes, they will. If you decant them and let them give them a chance to breathe, they will emerge. But who decants Sancerre? I don't. Let's try the next one. We are with Vacheron, and of course Sancerre 2010, just to remind myself. Now this has got, it sounds a bit Ponzu. It's like a crystalline purity about it. Yes, there is some of the mineral character. There's some of that grassy nettle character as well, and there's the fruit. But all in all, it just feels really tender, light, dainty on its feet, tiptoeing across your palate. Even though I've not put it in my mouth yet. Let's do that now. Tasty. What I like about that is it's not got too much of everything, but it's got enough of everything. So it's got the crispness, it's got the citrus and green apple twang, but it's also got something that's ever so slightly richer, maybe a Victoria plum type of character. And all the while behind it, there's the herb, the grass, and that touch of mineral. Tasty wine. Certainly one of my favourites so far. Let's see how we get on with Francois Crochet. I don't know, there's something like a touch of oak here. There's certainly something that is giving quite a big, almost creamy richness to it. But all the while, the fruit behind is that in that lemon, tight lemongrass herb, and yeah, a little bit of the nettle there, and maybe a little bit of that Victoria plum that I was finding on the Vacheron. Rich but precise. It's a very tasty wine now, and again feels like it's still got a little bit of uncurling to do. I like that tang and twang. And the finish, it's leaving me salivating. It's leaving me thinking, I want some mussels or something like that. Well, I've got mussels anyway. You knew that. But I want some food to go with that. All of these wines, yes, none of them is what I call kiss me quick, sit down and sip on. It's not Desperate Housewives type of wine. You want a plate of shellfish with them. But here, more than any of them, I'm left with that succulence there. It makes me want to have both food and more of this. One of my favourites so far. But I said that about the one before. But I think I just marginally prefer this to the one before. We like. Penultimate one. This is Vincent Pinard and a cuvée called Flores. So these last two are the ones where my wife thought the labels were the best. Now this is another rich, fleshy one. Some of them, it's funny, some of them are on that taut, tangy, twangy style. Some of them feel a bit more full-bodied. This feels as full-bodied as we've got so far. And the fruit, it's that plum going into the pear and peach. I'm just wondering whether there's ever so slight touch of botrytis in here as well, because there's something giving a sweet, almost creamy richness. I said that about one of the others, but I was wondering whether that was oak related. Here, I don't think it's oak related, but then maybe there's a bunch or two of botrytis grapes in there, giving that character. Rich, herby, green gage, yeah, that plum green gage character. And just when you think it might go just that little bit too rich, then this mineral character comes through, dries out the finish, you're left with the acidity, you've got the crispness, really nice mix of the crispness and the richness. It's funny, these three that the previous two and this are among my favourites, so maybe there is something in this label speaks us into the wine, but I think this is probably my favourite so far. Okay, final one. Pascal Jolivet, who produces quite a few cuvées of Sancerre and Pouilly Fume, but let's see how we get on with this one. It's a fresh, lively style that doesn't feel like it's going to be quite as complex nor as rich as the previous few, but it feels like it's going to be pretty precise, pretty tasty, and but maybe lacking the complexity of some of the best ones here. Pretty decent wine, but for me it doesn't quite have the extra mile of some of the others. But in terms of it being sincerely Sancerre, it's got the tang and the twang. It's got the sense of place. It doesn't feel like it's come from a grape factory, and it's got the freshness, and it's got the I want some seafood ability factor. Well, what's impressed me most about these is that really no dud wines. There's some that I like better than others. As for it being related to the quality being related to the label design, well, it hasn't really panned out. And I'm sure if I had a different wife, I assure my wife that I don't have another wife somewhere else. I'm sure someone else would put these in a different order. But it's a really good advert for Sancerre as a region, I think, because. I mean, once upon a time, the Loire was where Sauvignon was king. New Zealand took over. The Loire lost the plot a bit. but now they're producing wines like this, pretty consistent octet. Be very happy to drink any of them tonight, preferably with a plate of large razor clams and maybe some of the fatter ones with lobster and stuff like that. But nice wines. See you soon.